or a particular within your own party that some may have a much closer ear, let's say, of the president than others. And all of those things can come with an advantage of getting a response to certain needs faster than maybe another person could get. It doesn't necessarily make it right, but sometimes that's the reality that you have to deal with. And that's why, in the process of governance, there are people who have to lobby, there are intermediaries who have to negotiate on behalf of groups, on behalf of areas, on behalf of people. But I think Mr. McMenu is right in the sense that the national budget is the way we approach development projects. And hopefully we are able, as time goes on, hopefully we are able to live up to that way of properly doing things. And then whatever is allocated to an MP via, let's say, the common fund, that it is done in a way that is, that is fair, and that one MP or one area, because they are aligned or not to the ruling party, is not given a special advantage or is not disadvantaged as a result of that.
And the way the president puts it, portray that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, the way the president portrayed it made it sound like if you are an MP aligned with the ruling party, then you might, quote unquote, be able to get development either, you might be able to get development more than when your certain MP is not aligned to the ruling government. I don't think that's how it really works, because I've also seen opposition MPs who've been able to do some really good work in their constituencies as well. I think sometimes in the heat of competitive politics, that politicians end up, making statements or saying things that do not always align with the reality of how things actually work, or at least may not necessarily be exactly how it works.
We saw in Kumewu, we've seen at Asin North how government moved in aggressively to construct roads, to initiate certain projects, to complete certain projects, make attempts at fixing traffic lights and street lights and all that. And there again, there's this idea of disrespect where you ask yourself, does it need to take a by-election to get that? Did you have the money for that? Why didn't you give it to us? It's problematic, isn't it?
It is very problematic. And I think for me, the onus is therefore on voters to signal to politicians that we won't stand for these last minute interventions anymore. Because again, as and even if you look at the roads issue, for example, I think the Minister for Roads, when there were a couple of things happening in Asen North and was asked about it, said, look, this has nothing to do with the by-election, and this would, these projects have already been earmarked and they would continue post this by-election. But there's something about elections that offers a different set of incentives to politicians. They respond well to an election or the prospect of either winning or losing. And therefore, the impetus to act, it's sometimes, not even sometimes, is always much higher in an election year than in a non-election year. This is where, for me, voters come in. That if voters are able to establish a pattern of behavior that says, if you come in at the last minute, we would remember the years of abandonment, and your last minute gimmicks or last minute efforts is not what we are going to reward. Hopefully we would get to a time when politicians would realize that the efforts at development should be engaged, should be continuous, and not one-time things or things that they do because there's a prospect of an election and the possibility to win or lose. And I think it is up to voters to over and over again demonstrate that to politicians, because politicians are politicians. They will always do what they have to do to win an election. It is up to us voters to decide what we let politicians get away with or not.
Right, and let me just take your thoughts, Dr. Asasante, on the issue of violence. We've just heard from the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC on how Sami Jamefi and the party's youth organizer and another person were affected. There were shots fired in certain instances, vehicles vandalized. Thankfully, there were no incidents of death or casualties, as we will put it. But this is not something we'd like to hear, especially at this stage in our democracy and all the effort we've put at ensuring that elections are violent-free. Talk about Ayaso West Wogan, for example, setting up a committee, you know, and all that. What are your thoughts about those attacks?
Yes, I think before I come there, I was about to end my summary.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Before we lost you. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. If you look at the issue of popularity, it came in. There's no doubt that from 2020 up to date, Judge Kwesing is still popular amongst his people. And we saw also something that also was brought to the fore, the issue that the electorate wanted to know that he has really served his tenure, and so that they can really gauge his conduct or otherwise. That came in. We saw another thing of the Kumawood, group also coming to lend their support, telling you that yes, it's not only the people of Asing, but there are others who believe in the cause of those who think along the lines of NDC, and that also increased the popularity or the support for Judge Kwesing. Issue of framing was an important one, which we have talked about. The way they frame messages, and that made MPP reactionary. All right, instead of concentrating on their own messages, they were reacting to the messages of the NDC. And when you do that, you lose focus, you lose trust, because you are not able to come out with your own policies and programs or messages, so to speak, but you are reacting to issues. It doesn't allow you to settle down properly. Then the last aspect of it was that the issue of rational choice of voters came to play, that they knew or they know what is right for them. So they decided based on the fact that, yes, this is a candidate that we want. It doesn't matter the inducement and all the things that you are talking about. We want him and he will serve our interest. The issue of constituency-specific issues, and I'm happy Mr. McMahon touched on that, they were, it caught the MPP pants down, in the sense that they were not able to look at the constituency-specific issues that border on the place that the election took place. You cannot look at by-election from a national perspective. No, there are constituencies and there are certain pockets of the constituency have special needs that you need to attend to. Once you turn a blind eye on this, you are going to have your fingers bent. But now come to the issue of violence. Violence is something that is one of the enemies of the open society and by extension, democracy. We don't want violence in any form to take place when we are looking at a democratic election. It is something that we detest and we condemn at all times. What happened to the NDC, national organizer was very unfortunate. That yes, what is the point of destroying somebody's vehicle in the name?
We lost Dr. Asasante again. Well, we're quickly wrapping up this conversation. So let me come to you, Lawyer Bobby Benson. There's a pending case, you've just spoken about that. But moving on, your quick thoughts on what the two major political parties should pick based on events that unfolded at Assin North. Lawyer Benson? All right, I think we lost Lawyer Bobby Benson as well. Apologies for that. So it means I'm left with you, Dr. Osai Kwapong. So I end the conversation with you. There's a case pending. Lawyer Bobby Benson believes that Mr. Judge Kwesing's re-election, as I should put it, doesn't matter to what is going to happen in court. Considering the president's statements, reaction to that, moving on, what will your desire be in terms of what we must be saying as politicians in regard to the case that is still pending in court, and how Mr. Kwesi must approach it?
I think that, can you hear me?
All right, okay, I've got, we got you back, so please, you can go ahead, and then Dr. Saipapong will wrap it up with that for us.
The president's statement and also the response from Mr. John Mahama were just unfortunate. In a democracy, and we are looking at what rule of law. It's anchored on rule of law. That there are two components of rule of law: equality before the law and due process. That there's nobody who's above the law, and there is equal subjection of all citizens to the laws of the land. So whenever there is an issue before the court, you don't touch on it. You allow the court to finish its process, then you have the right to comment on it. And even there, you need to be measured and tempered. I think the two leaders did not help us well at all. We are talking about the president and the reaction from the former president too. All these things are aberrations when we are talking about meaningful democracy. We don't need that, because once you do that, you set the stage for people to frown on the laws with impunity, and that doesn't bode well for us at all. Going forward, I believe that yes, now the real test is here. That yes, Mr. Kwesi is going to Parliament and is still going to court. The court will work separately from the legislature, and Mr. Kwesi will also have opportunity to go to court. Whatever will be the determination of the court will come, and then we'll follow from that. But from now, I believe that what Mr. Bob Benson said is that nothing is going to change. That yes, he will go to Parliament, and then he will still go to court. At the end of the day, we'll see what happens.
Right, thank you for your time. Dr. Kwapong, let me end with you. Your thoughts on the violence and moving forward, what is your expectations of the proceedings in court are?
Yes, we have chosen democracy. I keep saying that we've made our peace with democracy. There are things that every so often may prove to be a challenge or may want to chip at that quote-unquote peace we've made with democracy. So some of these incidents are always rather unfortunate. I'm also though pleased that it wasn't large scale. You want to really commend the police and the security forces for keeping the peace, and hopefully we would be able to emulate this behavior come 2024. Just go vote. I know we all get excited during elections. Just go, stand in, peacefully cast your vote, go home. Once a winner is declared, come out and jubilate. So hopefully, again, the security forces would do an excellent job like they did in ASEAN overall to make sure that in 2024 we would have a peaceful election, because this is the way we have chosen to go. Moving forward, Mr. James Kwesi has been duly elected, and so I believe he would be sworn in and he would carry out his duties as MP, whilst at the same time attending to court to put up a defense against his case, and we let the judicial process play out. But real quick, because Mr. Benson points to or raises a very important issue about how we treat the judiciary. And if I may go back to things that I've pointed out from the Afrobarometer, you would notice that the judiciary is not the only institution in that situation of this declining trust. Our institutions that make democracy work are living in an era of really growing mistrust on the part of citizens. And what I find even more disturbing is that when you probe the data further by party affiliation, we tend to place a little more trust in institutions when the party that we say we are affiliated with is in power. And that trust goes down when our preferred party is in opposition. And I find that very worrying. And what I've been arguing is that it is still, the burden is on our institutions whether it is their actions or inactions that is contributing to this declining trust, that it is up to them to find ways to sort of rebuild that lost trust and confidence in them. Yes, I know that our politics is also a contributing factor to that. We pick and choose when we like an institution and when we don't like an institution. If it goes our way, great. If it doesn't, then the institution is a bad institution. But beyond that, I also think that our institutions must engage in some amount of self-reflection and ask themselves, why is it that increasingly citizens are losing trust in all of these key institutions? And what can we do to regain that lost confidence and trust in us?
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Osai Kwapong is a fellow with the CDD Ghana. We appreciate it. So that's our conversation on the Asin North by-election. Earlier, you had lawyer Bobby Banson, we had Peter Macmenu, Mustafa Bande, and Dr. Asa Asante. It's now time to take you to a next big story, and this is a conversation my colleague Samuel Koto-Brace had with the Deputy Trades Minister, Dr. Stephen Amoah. They discussed a host of issues, including election 2024 and the prediction by Fish that the NDC is likely to win. Dr. Stephen Amoah has some interesting reactions to that. Watch this.
Fish is predicting that the NDC is better placed to win the 2024 general elections because of the way the economy is. What's government's, or how will government react to this?
Thank you very much. I think if I say how government will react, it will be very difficult. But I think I'm a key stakeholder of this government. So from my view and understanding of the finance and the economy and what is happening globally, then of course I can speak to it. I think it will be very difficult for somebody to actually hold Fitch and say that what you are saying is entirely out of order, I think, or out of place. However, I think it is also not a done deal issue for the opposition party. In the first place, globally, I'm not comparing country to country, but even the giant economies, if I'm telling you that interest rate or base rate in UK post-COVID has been increased about 1,800%. From 0.25 is now 4.75. Prices of goods and services, 46 years now, they've never seen inflationary rate the way they are seeing it. So all over the world, we all know any incumbent will not be in the good books of its electorate of people. It's a fact. I mean, the goodwill of every incumbent, in my opinion, is dwindling. Not specifically because that government is doing A or B, but the global crisis as a result of the COVID, as a result of the Russian-Ukrainian war, it's really affecting us. It had impact on our fiscal space. I mean, when in the history of this country, were we asked to stay home but will be paid? Let's be honest with ourselves. We have revenue shortfalls of about 12 billion. So, truly speaking, domestically generated revenue has become a big issue to us. And it has affected this country. Let's be honest. And definitely, people will not be happy with the hardship we are going through. It's a fact. But then, a lot of other people are also realizing that it is a global issue. So let's see what can happen if we can provide some sort of mitigation when it comes to the hardship that these global challenges are bringing or confronting us with. Of course, we are import-driven economy. When the global supply chain gets disturbed, it will affect us. Of course, we have internal issues too. Specific issues as a country. Not today, not yesterday, not only one region. So once we import almost everything, and where we import our things from, they're having challenges, it will affect us. So I think based on the hardship that we are going through as a country, as a result of the global challenges, and because of the government will have to take hard decisions, such as probably tax increment, or even the interest rate that is going up, see the policy rate, and other factors, which are probably not, not favorable, not really getting on well with the people. Of course, anybody will have the observation that the election is going to be difficult for the sitting government. But I can assure you, we are working around the clock to make sure that we mitigate the impact of the hardship. And by the time we get to first quarter next year, probably, God willing, because of the liquidity that is coming back, things might have changed, and Ghanaians would really understand us. But it is true that things are hard in Ghana and all over the world. And it is true, when things are hard, people will not be happy with you. It is a fact. But we are working around the clock. Things are gradually reversing, just that it's not going very fast. I mean, we used to have single-digit inflationary rate. We're growing 7%. Interest rate had been reduced from about almost 40% to about 20%. And then suddenly they all start going back again. Double-digit inflationary rate, double-digit growth, double-digit that. Our growth reduced, not double-digit. And then inflation went as high as, I think, over 40%. I mean, TB rate started going up, policy rate that came to about 12 from about 25.5 went to 30%. So these are the parameters influencing the decisions of high bodies such as, or global bodies such as Fitch. But I can assure you that we are working around the clock, and I believe in my government that we can do something. If we are not able to do something, then of course, but it has to be treated in the context of the global crisis. That one, I want honest people to say that.
But how many people in Ghana, if you're dealing with really the political space in this country, would do this analysis in the global space to really understand that, well, it's not only the doing of this government?
In fact, your question is perfect. Perfect. That is why we have a great challenge as a government. So now it comes to how the government can redesign, redefine, can introduce new paradigm shift in its communication with or to the people. Because this is the time that the government has to really sit down, redefine a new communication tactics, not strategy. Something now, tactics within the shortest possible time, so that our communication will have the needed cascading effect. Because our social stratification is actually comprising different levels in terms of people, the way they think, as you are saying, that they don't care if your child is going through hardship. She doesn't care. The child doesn't care whether the father has money or the father has lost the job. But you should be able to engage Ghanaians at all levels, at different levels, and explain things. Let them be part, pull them along what is happening for them to. How many Ghanaians even appreciate the fact that within 3 months, a giant economy such as UK, nurses, teachers, doctors, aviation, railway station, all of them have gone on strike. How many Ghanaians know? How do they even understand its impact on us? So what you are saying is perfect, but it is now on the government, the onus is on the government and its machinery to properly sit down, design proper communication tactics or strategies, whatever, engage Ghanaians for them to understand. Other than that, we are in trouble. That's a fact. And I think that is why Fitch is saying that. And it beholds, it's now our responsibility to actually confront these challenges and find solutions in terms of mitigating the hardship, in terms of communicating to Ghanaians, in terms of making sure that Ghanaians really understand why and where they are being taken to. Because sometimes there can be hardship. But if the key stakeholders realize that, the program the government has, the framework, there's a future, a better future. There is going to be light at the end of the tunnel, even though I'm suffering today. I'm sure they might have really agreed and understand the fact that the same government was putting up splendid performance. All the parameters were doing well. But COVID and this thing came in, yes. But what are you doing to take us out? Where are we heading towards? How long will it take us? How do we understand your plight as a government? If we are not able to do these things, then of course, what Fitch is saying, it's something that probably may be materialized. But I think we are on course to pull Ghanaians alongside. Yeah.
In addition to the economic challenges, majority of the people also feel that government is not doing enough when it comes to tackling corruption. In a recent Afrobarometer survey, about 80.5% of the people said the Akufo-Addo government is not doing enough in tackling corruption, and that's also going to play out in this election. How then will government tackle this and fixing the economy so that 2024 might not be as Fitch is predicting?
I think issues about corruption, in my opinion, I can never say there's no corruption in Ghana. But issues about corruption, the problem I have is that it's all about perception. That's my problem. Because even in court, they say that not guilty until proven guilty. Almost everything about corruption in Ghana, whether it's true or otherwise, has been perception.
But you rode on that you rode on that to come to power.
I'm surprised where you are taking me to. I don't know what you are talking about road, whether somebody rode on that, another person, but it's all been perception. It could be true, it could be false, but then, Ben, let us also ask ourselves, if you are operating a democracy, if you are actually operationalizing a democracy, it is very difficult fighting corruption. It's not easy. Let's be honest with ourselves. Just because somebody says you stolen money, I should kill you. No. We are not in a military rule or regime. You'll be taken to court. We have 3 different arms of government. We have judiciary, don't we? We have the executive. Even whether it's Nanado or Mahama or whoever, you take somebody to court. The judiciary, they have their exclusive right and their freedom to operate. So what happens between the prosecutor, what happens between the judge and the whatever, the one that has been alleged guilty or whatever, what happens? So the processes are such that all stakeholders must play their roles. Rather than that, you can be even respectfully, you can be, how do I put it, Tony Blair or something, leading Ghana. You cannot fight corruption the way people think cheaply you can, because it goes to court. What happens there? If a judge is not good and he keeps on, I'm just making a hypothetical statement, I'm not saying the judges are not good, and he keeps on postponing the issue, what can Anadu do? What can Muhammad do? If somebody is supposed to give witness and the person doesn't give the right witness, what happens? If the prosecutor is not doing his work, you live in a country that somebody can come and say that, oh, a particular file is even missing. So let's be honest and confront this issue. I also live in a country, people publish falsehood about other people. You know that. Even things they've not seen, things that are not true, they do.
So how do you think we can deal with corruption then?
Corruption, I'm not saying, oh, fine, institutions work. We have the Yoko, we have this, is a special prosecutor or prosecution thing. We have attorney general, all of them. Even you, the media, you should do proper and the correct reportage so that issues can properly be supported. And then the security agencies, they do the prosecution. So all the relevant actors that are important in dealing with corruption should have the right attitude and mindset and approach. Other than that, you can even bring American president or prime minister from UK, it will not change. The institutions, you think even another didn't want to fight corruption? Honestly speaking, would he have made Martin Amidu lead special prosecutor, whatever thing? If he didn't, he was just trying to play games with Ghanaians. If the political role was not there, you go and take a leading member of the opposition to lead it. So sometimes it's not very easy. I'm not saying we've been very successful in fighting corruption, but let's also not sit down and trivialize the cumbersome nature, the Herculean nature or task in fighting corruption in a democratic country such as Ghana, where other actors, positions, and actions and inactions can also affect the process of dealing with corruption. Being the media, being the judiciary, being the security, being we the politicians ourselves, being even witnesses. This is what I'm talking about. So once all of us honestly change our position and be honest and play our role efficiently, effectively well as a government or as politicians, as media, as security, and as judiciary, trust me, we can fight corruption. If not, boss, you will keep on, we'll be recycling this thing almost every decade and will not change anything. We all have to change our attitude and our mindset. That's what I can say.
The IMF is also even worried about the free senior high school. And it's proposing that if we could modify it to rein in more support for the program. What would be your response to this suggestion that we may have to take a look at the free senior high school?
I think it doesn't have to even come from the IMF alone. Every policy all over the world, during its time of execution or implementation, needs monitoring and evaluation. It needs review, because things change. You review to adjust either upwards or downwards, depending on the parameter you are dealing with and what is prevailing. So I think after, in my opinion, after years, a few years of successful enrollment or implementation, of course it has hardship, it has challenges, of the free SHS, I think we'll still have to do review and see where we can change the direction of some of the parameters. There's nothing wrong with that. But I disagree with people who think the SHS hasn't helped. Performance is a function of 1, ability, 2, opportunity, 3, motivation. Ability comes as a result of education. You cannot build any economic, you cannot expect any economic growth with that sustainability that we all want without education. It's extremely critical. It's a critical element of building any strong economy all over the world. So I think a situation where other people are not getting opportunity to be in school, and that will give an advantage to criminals or increase insecurity and other things, and that will be just liability, not asset to the country, will be dysfunctional to the performance of our republic. Education is key. But I agree with all the other stakeholders who are saying that there is the need to constantly or periodically review and change our positions if it is necessary, if that is going to enhance efficiency or effectiveness. Probably, even the first 2-3 years, yes, it was so much needed. Maybe the next year or additional years, things have changed, and that will have to also change, or even move, or do better or worse, or extend it to even university level, tertiary. It doesn't matter. But I think the call to review and see how best we can sustain it and grow, in my opinion, I think there's nothing wrong with that, and I'll support such cause.
So if we are to review, what do you think, or what should we review? What should we change about the policy?
Every performance, you see, every policy has its performance parameters for review. So I haven't done that detailed work. So if I speak and I'm too emphatic, I may, because I'm the asymmetric information, where stakeholders might not have been previewed to all pieces of relevant information for me to make that, authoritative statement. But what I can say is that we have to also look into the expenditures that go into it. We can check. Not that we should reduce or increase or whatever, but we need to review that and see. We need to also check its efficiency and effectiveness in terms of the children that pass through. I know their exams are not bad as compared to even where we're not doing free SHS. And most of the challenges confronting free SHS are the same challenges that even when we were in secondary school 20 years ago and over. Congestion, food issues, yes, check all those things. We're there. Inadequate number of tables and chairs and logistics.
Should we make some parents pay?
I can't say that. I can't say yes or no. If we can really put, good policies in place, and the parents are saying they are ready to. But I think the president's vision is said that there wouldn't be any system. You see, this thing people call, not that I don't support, but the way we are as a people. See the problems we are having with the school enrollment. Sometimes it is the actors who they make even changing some of these things very difficult. So at time may come that even those who are supposed to pay and not to pay, it will be difficult to determine. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If what you are saying, I agree, is one of the best suggestions a lot of stakeholders have raised. The fact of the matter is that we should also look at the difficulty in making that inefficient. You know the kind of people we have in our country. I'm not saying everybody, but the way people take undue advantage and making it said that even those who merit such opportunities will not get. And I'm sure that is why the president looked at it and said, okay, let's make it in general. If you are in the position to help a school, what prevents you from going to help the school? You can. If you think you are rich and your child is there and the government is taking it, you could have paid the fees, you can mobilize something and help the school. But then it's also not wrong if we can also have a system that can clearly sieve the elements and make sure that these elements in terms of school children, they are really in need and that we are, there's nothing wrong with that. But whether we will have what it takes to provide that platform smoothly, efficiently, and effectively to get the actual needy students. You know the way our system is. Sometimes even the rich people, they will talk. But the same rich people go and pay money, some of them, and get their case through, while the poor people are there. And the president, realizing all these risk factors, thought that, okay, then let's do for all Ghanaians and see what will happen. With time, we can still review and change. Why not?
are days when you think, whoa, today I've earned it. So order a Glovo. Days when plans run longer. What if we order a Glovo? Or days when you can't control everything. Oh yes, because on Glovo, you can order anything you want. Glovo, you order, we deliver.
Water is life. Water gives life. Water moves through nature in a never-ending cycle. Observe the beauty of water as it flows all around us, refreshing and restoring. Gaze in wonder at the stillness and beauty of nature. There's harmony in nature everywhere around. Water revitalizes the body and keeps you going strong. Water is life. Water gives life. Drink Awake Purified Drinking Water, one for life. So relax and unwind, and in the calmness of nature, find the rest you desire. For every bottle of Awake you buy, an amount to be donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA approved.
You need the EcoBank salary account, bro. See, with the EcoBank salary account, you will enjoy free life insurance, free debit card, save while you spend, and an amazing chance to double your salary, and even more consolation rewards in the EcoBank double salary promo reloaded.
Guy, this EcoBank salary account sounds interesting. What do you
see the white sign it here?
Open an EcoBank salary account today for a lifetime of benefits. You also stand a chance to win more than double your salary in the EcoBank double salary promo reloaded from now till July 31st. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is under the supervision of the National Lotteries Authority under the Caritas Lottery Platform.
Even the builders of his house and sellers of his cars give him a percentage for every contract he brings. My opponent sits here and turns against the motion for once avenue for making money legally. Wrong! Hey.
The biggest debate competition in Ghana is back. Which side do you represent? For or against the motion? Stay glued to your superstation Love 99.5 FM, Joy Learning and Joy Prime as we bring to you the biggest stage where schools in Ashanti show their prowess through debate. Rally behind your alma mater to glory as gallant young men and women from the various senior high schools in Ashanti elucidate their stance on matters of national interest.
Venue is the Christian Service University College.
Catch us live on Love 99.5 FM, on Facebook at Love 99.5 FM, Joy Learning and Joy Prime, 2 p.m. each day. The Love FM High Schools debate, trumpeting the voice of young ones on issues of national interest. This event is brought to you by your superstation Love 99.5 FM, the Ashanti Regional SRC, and the Regional Directorate of Ghana Education Service Ashanti and CHAS.
This program is in partnership with Pepsodent, Rasta Choco Molds from Twillium Industries, Christian Service University College, Jackson Educational Complex, Cowbell, Madam Catherine, Fritol and Fortune Rice from Wilma, and sponsored by...
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me kwan point no mo hwe me modem no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma won kra me nu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba
and everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nu nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra wo di end point wa dance am me call you no me Johnson sema na enkoyie empeso na my emre nyina na magina sebema na me no be fie for there the one dey nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
Every young woman in Ghana is going to be empowered enough to be the light and the heart of our society.
I committed to ensuring that these NGOs are supporting government efforts and not the opposite.
We have developed a very effective cycle of admitting and rehabilitating young women in need.
I don't want to be your soldier. I don't just want to be in the program. I want to be by your side.
Get her ready.
You're saved and you're brought here to make something of yourself. Only rule is that you stay as good girls.
Our investigations will focus on organizations with a seemingly clean sheet.
You will fail. You know why? Because I never lose.
So cool, so clean. My newfound love and buddy, Aquadot Natural Mineral Water, made under strictly hygienic conditions with modern technology to ensure your quality. With Aquadot Natural Mineral Water, your safety is at heart. For bulk purchase, call 0257205656 or 0559765777. You can also visit us at Hacho Ecomog Accra or Dotland Limited, Hatcher Rabbit, Aquadot Natural Mineral Water. This advert is FDA approved.
We've had news file over the weekend, and an interesting part of the conversation focused.
Oh no, we are out of range.
Oh, don't worry, Daddy. I have Alexa in my bag.
Alex, what?
Alexa, open Multimedia Ghana and play Joy FM.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Listen to Joy FM, Hits FM, Love FM, live on your Amazon Echo. Listen to your favorite multimedia radio stations live on your Amazon Echo device by saying, Alexa, open Multimedia Ghana, play Joy FM or Hits FM or Love FM. Or catch up on your favorite podcast by saying, Alexa, play, and then the name of your favorite podcast from Multimedia Ghana. For a list of all podcasts available, say Alexa. Ask Multimedia Ghana to browse programs.
And we are back like we never lost signal.
Alexa, welcome to Multimedia.
Hello there. Thank you so much for staying on the AM show with me. Bernice Abubaidulans has just gone by. You saw that interaction my colleague had with the Deputy Trades Minister. It's now time for us to discuss family businesses. Just look around you. I'm sure you can point to one or two. All over Africa, we see them, even the world over. And in the world, the global sense, there are family businesses that have been running for hundreds of years. Today, I've got the right people to have that conversation, also because you're trying to throw the light on governance of family businesses, how to do things right. In studio, I've been joined by Professor Martin Roll. Good morning to you, Prof. He's a global expert in family business and family office. And Titi Mutendi, co-founder, Africa Family Firms. And via Zoom, I've got Dr. Dennis Oting, CEO, Ravens Consulting. Welcome, gentlemen and ladies. A pleasure to host you here in my studio. So I'll start off with you, Prof, since this is something that you are an expert in. Let's just set the foundation, right? When you say a family business, what do you mean?
A business with a heart, because all businesses set out to be entrepreneurs. They did something that was very meaningful in the market, but it happens to be ownership is either